she's just so special to me. We are very similar in many ways. I had no idea that video game acting was this complex and this deep.
When you finally saw the actual version, how we are seeing it, what was your reaction?
I thought it was the most beautiful, just incredible thing I'd ever seen, and I was blown away.
Do you have like character in mind that Swann is a perfect fit for?
I never felt like I gravitated towards anyone. When I got this script and I read that, it just felt like, wow, I can't believe this story found me. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited.
I'm excited as well. And I was so excited to just play the game. Ever since the game was announced, I was like, I'm just going to play this. This is something that I feel like is very exciting for me. And after the game came out, the response has been great. How does it feel for you to see such a positive response and impact that people had by playing this game?
Oh, it's been incredible. It's overwhelming. I think I've said this a few times. Like it's overwhelming in the absolute best way. I never expected this. I never imagined this in my life. So yeah, it's been amazing.
Yeah, it is. It's such a cool thing to see. Like a lot of people have been talking so many good things about it. Obviously, there's other side of the coin as well, where people talk about negative, but we don't see that. We do not see.
We
those
don't want to.
things.
We don't want to look at that. No.
We don't want to look at that. No, that is wrong. That is just.
They're wrong. They're
illegal.
Absolutely wrong. It's illegal.
It's illegal. But it's interesting because you've done so much film and TV and like film and TV role and all that acting. But this is video game voiceover as well. So what sort of expectations did you set when you got this role, when you got to know that it's a video game role?
Well, what I loved so much about it, I have to say, I come from a background in theater. So what I loved was that I find video game acting very much a combination of theater and film. So it's like my two favorite things. And this brand new medium, and or at least brand new for me. And because it was my first time doing mocap, I had done voice stuff before, but to be able to do the motion capture for it was really a gift because I got to combine those two things. And so it was just a dream. For me, I feel like it went smoothly.
That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, as you mentioned, like it's motion capture for the first time. You've never done it, and it's different. Obviously, was that like how was that experience like for you to step into the shoes, get to do motion capture for the very first time for a video game?
I have to say, our first day, I was so nervous. I remember Andrea being with me, who plays Autumn, and I just kept like rambling to her and looking to her for comfort. I had just met her, literally just met her. And I was like, she's going to calm me down, which is so interesting because she brought those, Autumn is very much kind of like the mom of the group. And I felt that so much immediately with Andrea. And she could attest to this. I mean, we laughed about it years later when I was like, do you remember that first day when I was so nervous? And I just was like blabbing. I remember telling her like, hi, I'm really nervous. Like I just and I was like literally trying. I was like, do not have an anxiety attack. But it wasn't because anybody was like mean or something. It was such a wonderful environment. I think it was so it freaked me out a little just because it was my first time. Like when you suit up, they have to put like these dots all over you.
Right.
and there were so many people involved. There were so many people there just like touching you. It sounds very strange, I know. But I remember just standing there kind of like you feel like a doll and you have your arms out and they're just putting all these dots around you. At the time we had the mic on the head too. It was a whole thing. It was just a lot of people and I wasn't used to it. It was my first experience with that many people around me. And that could be quite overwhelming, especially when you have no idea what you're getting into. Like, I didn't know what the hell I was doing. I mean, I took workshops, but it's different. So I don't even remember the question. Did I answer it?
You did. I just wanted to know like how the experience was because it is weird to just get into like that suit with those dots on the suits.
Yes.
And you don't know what exactly is. Did you ever thought like, okay, when I'm doing whatever I'm doing the acting, did you ever thought that is it even working? Am I even doing right because of everything that's
Yes, because there's definitely a different technique to it, right? Like my instinct as an actor, especially for Swann, I really wanted to cross my arms or I would play with my hands a lot, but they're not capturing my fingers. Like there's just like some dots on your knuckles and around your wrist, but they're not getting like fingers. And I remember I was playing with my hands a lot and I would cross my arms, but when you cross your arms, you're blocking some of the,
Mm.
what are they called? I'm saying dots. I'm like, what the trackers, essentially. You're
Yeah.
blocking some of them. So you can't cross your arms. So I'd have to find different ways around that. It influenced how Swann stood and how Swann interacted with things and with people. So it was a learning curve in the beginning for sure. And then once you get used to all that technical aspect, like it just gets in your bones essentially, and you completely forget about it, and you just feel free. It's definitely more free than film work, I'd say, just because um you're not like in a close up, you're moving your whole body, which is
Right.
where it's more like theater. Yeah.
Right, right. Yeah, that's cool that you eventually got to get into that, and it's so cool. Like, we get to see the whole performance, and we get to appreciate everything that you've done. So that it's really cool to see what you've done. Um,
Thank you.
one of the things that obviously this character Swan is so relatable to a lot of people. How close is she to you, and like how much she means to you after like doing the whole game?
Oh, I love her. I mean, Michelle crafted and the writers crafted such a beautiful character. I definitely relate to her a lot. I and she's just so special to me. We are very similar in many ways, and especially in my teenage years, I'd say. I definitely resonated with her. I was very introverted, very, very, very shy. um, and yeah, it was easy to connect with her.
Yeah, I think I was even like I was also connected with her because I feel like I'm still that guy. I'm still that like introverted, shy person, and I feel like okay, I get her. I feel like if she was there, I would be the one to be friends with her or something like that.
Yeah.
I would be the one interacting. So that's what I felt like all the time when I was playing.
Yeah, she's
Yeah,
it's been really beautiful to hear how much people have connected with her. I feel like
yeah,
there's a lot of introverted people out there
yeah.
who get
There
her.
is.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. There is a lot, and I love everything about like Swan that we get to experience, we get to see. It's really cool to see the stories that the game also has like kind of focused on. Did you ever think that I don't know, like obviously I've heard a lot of actors who have looked down upon video game acting. Did you ever think that video game could have storytelling like this?
Oh, that's a great question. No, I had no idea. I had no idea that video game acting and work and storytelling within this world was this complex and this deep. I am not a gamer, as I think people are learning.
Yeah,
I didn't come from that world. I sort of did associate video games a lot with just like shooting games or car games or stuff like that, or just things that I was like, I don't think I'm ever going to work in this field because it's just not me. Like, I
right.
can't see myself. I mean, never say never. I'd love to do it now. But I had no idea, first of all, how massive the video game industry is. It's
Right.
much bigger than the film and television one. Um, and I had no clue about it. I had no clue. I'm still learning every day with the success of this game, and it's opened my eyes to like a whole new world of storytelling, and how I feel like video game storytelling has just gotten increasingly better and better and better, which is why it's like surpassing film and television.
Yeah, definitely. And now we are seeing like video games are getting TV show adaptations and movie
Yes,
adaptations, and we are getting to see a lot more of that. And a lot more people are understanding like, oh, that was from a video game? No way. And they
yeah,
get to see or play it if they want to. It's
exactly. The
very
storytelling is so beautiful. I mean, you look at a show like The Last of Us. I
right.
had no idea. I didn't know this thing was like, I didn't know it existed until the TV show. And it's just, yeah, I mean, if I could keep doing games like that, and anything that has a beautiful story, which most games do these days, I'd be so happy. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that you will get more opportunities because this game is that good, and it's that has the story which connects with a lot of people, as you have mentioned. Um,
Yeah.
and just I'm curious about like obviously when you're working on this, you do not know exactly how things are gonna look completely, like how the world is gonna look really. But now that you, I don't know if you have seen all of it or most of it, like when you
Yeah.
finally saw the full version, the actual version, how we are seeing it, what was your reaction the first time you saw it?
I remember the first time seeing like them putting together the graphics and everything, because they would show us like trailers, or they'd be like, okay, so the scene you're recording today, we just want to give you an idea of what it looks like. And it wasn't even anywhere near finished. And I thought it was the most beautiful, epic, beautiful, like just incredible thing I'd ever seen. And I was blown away. But to see really the finished product, um, I'm so impressed. I'm so blown away. I think it's kind of surreal too, because it's like, oh, I'm in this. I did this, and that's my character, and those are the girls that I've been working with, and it's quite surreal. But I think they did an absolutely phenomenal job.
This game focuses mostly on the summer of 95 for these all these
Mhm.
four girls. Like, I'm curious, like, what is a memory of yours in your summertime? Like, do you have a favorite memory that comes to mind?
Oh, well, my birthday's in the summer,
Wow.
so those were always my favorite memories growing up. Or like I'm very blessed. I had parents who would always like take us somewhere. I think my favorite memory is going to Lake George in the
Oh,
United States, and we would just mini putt a lot as a family. Usually, like around my birthday or something, we would go down. I'm a huge mini putt fan. I
wow.
just yeah. I don't know if I'm any good, but I love it. So those are all of my favorite memories are with my parents and my sister. Yeah.
Wow, that's brilliant. I love it's just even with this game, I love the fact that it was most around the summertime and it's just the perfect, it's so gloomy and it's great to like be with friends and spend time and have some
Summer's the
fun.
best. Summer is the
Yes.
I mean, it's my favorite season. I mean, I live in Montreal, so we get like a bajillion months of winter. And then I just
Right.
look forward to those 3 months of summer.
I remember like you were mentioning in some of the interviews like you do not have a specific moment in your life where you decided like, okay, this is why I will not become an actor. But do you have a specific moment where you became even more excited to continue your journey as an actor?
Probably so many. There's so many. I feel like every like growing up, like I was in plays. I started when I was 9 years old. I started doing musical theater. And then that was a moment that made me go, oh my God, I'm so excited to keep doing musical theater. And I would find my parents found me like community theater to do, where I got to practice my skills outside of school. And then there was another level when I got to high school, and I was like, oh my God, I'm going to be the lead in the high school play. I'm so excited. This is my big moment to shine. and, and then the next level was um, college, and getting into auditioning for the college program that I got into. So and then from there was getting the agent, and there's always like I don't know, it's like leveling up. That's the
Right.
way I see it.
Yes.
But I mean, I guess when I was a kid was the biggest one. When I was 9, I just once I did that musical, I knew this is it for me. This is my life. Although I will say I thought I was going to be a singer before I was going to be an actor.
Oh, I mean, there's still that probably window open. Some you can probably still open that window.
Oh, I have such huge stage fright with singing, which is so weird because I started there. I started as a singer, particular like I did singing lessons and musical theater, and then I don't know what happened over the years. I think just auditions gone wrong, some that really like affected me as a child, and I cannot sing in front of people anymore, which makes me sad. Maybe one day I'll get back there. I think about it
Yes.
often. I do.
Oh, oh wow. Well, now I feel like there should be some kind of like a musical video game where you
A
can get
musical
to
video
be.
yeah, but
Yes.
I kind of was in one. I was in one, ironically. Like, there's music in this, and the girls had to Andrea and Amelia
Right.
had to record a song, and I remember when they told us, they were like, "Okay, so you guys are actually gonna record this song," and I looked at them and I was like, "I don't sing, right? Like, I don't have to do anything." They're like, "No, but what happened?" I think it was Phil that was like, "What if we did make you sing?" And I was like, no, I'd have a panic attack. Like it's that bad. The stage fright is so bad. I would have had a panic attack. So I don't know if I'm
Wow.
there yet.
I mean,
One
there's still
day.
the yeah, one day, definitely one day. We'd love to see that. That would be so cool because there is actually one particularly game which is only musical. It's literally
Really?
musical video game. Yeah, there's a game called Stray Gods, which is literally musical.
Oh, I'm gonna have to look that up.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's literally so many cool music. People who did not even know how to sing were also singing. So
Oh, okay. Yeah, I
it
always
is a
figured
possibility.
like maybe one day I'll be in a movie where they're like, "We need you to sing a song," and then I'll have a meltdown about it, but then I'll do it and get over my fear, maybe. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. There it is. There's your path right there.
That's the plan. Yeah,
That's the
somebody
plan.
put me in that movie.
That's so cool. What in this game, like one of the biggest thing is like as we mentioned earlier, like all the characters were singing with the song. Obviously, the relationship between Swan and everybody else is so cool to see. We explore that obviously in the game when we're playing it. And obviously, the biggest question I feel like I don't know if you might have been asked about like who would Swan fit with romantically with which character, and that question comes up all the time. It's very obvious. Like, do you? I have to ask this, but do you have like a particular character in mind that you think that Swan is a perfect fit for?
I can't answer that. I was asked this before and I was like, I'm not answering this because I'm going to end up hurting someone. Like I but also I have to be no, I have to be honest. Like I personally as while I was playing Swan, I never felt like I gravitated towards anyone because I thought each of their storylines were so beautiful. Every time I recorded one of them, I was like, that's so special. So like I really can't choose one. I can't. I think they're all special for their own reasons and I'm never going to pick one. I'm
I
so
mean,
sorry.
wow. Okay. I mean, again, as I feel like because of the choices of players that can take when they're playing the game, they can have this moment where you don't have anything, you don't have like a romantic
Yeah.
relationship. They're all
Yes.
friends, so that can happen, which is completely fine. And I feel
I
like that's
mean,
great.
if I was playing the game, I probably would choose somebody romantically. Like I wouldn't go the route of being alone, but that's just cuz me that's me. I love romance. I'm a hopeless romantic. Um but I will not choose one.
Okay. So we
I won't
need.
tell you which one I would choose. I'll say that.
Okay. All right. All right. So which means that we have to wait and see if you play the game yourself and maybe you get to
I
know
wouldn't
who you
tell anyone.
choose.
I would
Oh,
not tell anyone. But
so you're gonna hide. Okay, so you're gonna hide that away.
yeah,
Got it.
yes,
Understood.
I will till the day I die.
Oh my god. But yeah, the relationship between these girls are just phenomenal. It's so cool to see everybody's stories, everybody like conversations that they're having is sweet. It's cool. And one of the parts where I loved the most was when they find this house in this middle of the woods, abandoned place,
Yeah.
and they get to be there. If you found like an abandoned house in like the middle of the woods, would you be interested to go inside, set up
Okay.
something?
So that is where me and Swan differ. I remember asking the girls too when we read this part of the story, and I was like, "Would any of you guys would have done this? Like, just went out and like found a place and disappeared from your parents and like ran away?" And some of them were like, "Yeah, I did do that. I'm not gonna say who." And I was like, "Wow, I was such the opposite kid. I was very close with my parents growing up. Just I was very shy. I didn't have a ton of friends, and um, no, I wouldn't. I would not enter that I'm such a scaredy cat. I am very much the opposite of Swan in that regard. I'm scared of everything, and I would not go in the house, and I certainly wouldn't be sleeping over in it, and if I did, as a 16-year-old, I think my parents would have killed me. They'd be like,
True.
"Where the hell are you?"
That's true. Even if I had that kind of like situation, I don't think so. I will go at all. If I see that house there and we probably might step in to see what it is, I will not stay
Yeah.
there, definitely.
No, I
That is,
wouldn't have
I
stayed.
know. Yeah.
I mean, I totally see the appeal. I totally see why teenagers would want to go find their own house, their own
Right.
hideout, and like be an adult essentially. And they want it to be on their own. And I get that. Um, the interior designer in me would love it now, but no, definitely not as a teenager.
Definitely. Yeah. Makes sense. It's scary. I don't know why people would do it, but people do it apparently, I guess. um,
I guess there's an appeal to running away as a teen.
yeah, definitely. The game story is, I think, in tape one towards the end, the story just all of a sudden just becomes very serious and it just
Yeah.
turns shifts and all that. And
Yeah.
obviously, this is a spoiler, so I would love to talk about spoilers a little bit. So if anybody has
Mhm.
not played it, please do play that and then get to
Go
see.
away.
Yeah, get out. What are you doing? Uh, so I think one of the scenes that really obviously nobody expected was when everybody got to know what is happening with Kat and what she's
Yeah.
suffering from. When you saw that moment, when you got to know, like, okay, this is happening, and you got to know, everybody got to know, what was your reaction at the time?
Um, I was definitely shocked because I had no idea the game was going in that direction. We found out very early on. We always knew going into, even when I was auditioning, I auditioned originally for Kat. We knew there was a character that was sick. We didn't know her outcome. But I think that resonated with me right off the bat. And I was like, I need to be in this game because when I was 9 years old, and I briefly mentioned this, I think previously, but my best friend died of cancer. Um, so I know that experience very well. And so when I got this script and I read that, it just felt like, wow, I can't believe this story found me. Or like it came to me and I was like, this is I don't find that friendship is represented enough in media and TV and film. Growing up 9 years old, having lost my best friend, I kind of looked everywhere for an experience like that. I was like, I wanted to see it in the TV shows I was watching, the films I was watching, and I never really did. It's very rare that I came across like beautiful friendship and something happens to one of the friends. Like I kind of was looking for that experience, and the fact that I got to be in that thing was both sad and beautiful to me. I don't know, it touched me in a way like I needed this. I felt like I needed this release, and I brought a lot of my friendship with Megan into recording, especially like in tape 2 where it's very dark and she's talking to her camera about her best friend dying, and I was like, it's not very hard for me to search for that feeling. Um, so yeah, it was emotional, and I was so grateful that they wrote something like this. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's beautiful, and I'm so sorry for your loss.
Thank
It
you.
it
Thank
is
you.
it is crazy. Like I think a lot of people do connect with those moments, and like you said, like you were trying to figure, like at that time, trying to find out if there is a media, there's something out there that
Yeah.
I can relate to, that can help me. And I'm glad that there are video games like there's this, there's also Life is
Yeah.
Strange that also sort of
Yep.
focuses on that as well, about friendship and how important it is and what happens if something goes away.
Yeah.
And you were mentioning about emotional moments in the game, and there's so many in the tape two side of things. How like what was that whole experience like for you to get into that zone? Like you mentioned, you never expected in a video game to have that.
Yeah.
What was that whole feeling like?
It was really tough. Challenging as an actor in a beautiful way, so I was very excited to
Yeah.
I kind of always been like a dramatic actor, I guess, and I was like, "Oh, yes, I get to sink my teeth into this." And then I didn't realize the extent, how far we would go with it, and it was brutal at times being in that booth and having to dig really deep inside myself to connect to, because it's very easy to kind of put up a barrier with stuff like that. Like, especially because I've had it would hit so close to home, it's very easy to be like, "Well, I don't wanna feel that. Why do I wanna feel that sadness?" But Phil was so, so good at, like he could see immediately if I wasn't believing it. If I wasn't fully in that zone, he 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 could see it, and that those takes were not gonna make the cut, you know? So I really had to dig into that side of myself and the vulnerability there and the sadness there. So I definitely never expect when I signed on to this game, I had no idea what was coming. But it was so
Right.
beautiful, so rewarding, and I'm very proud.
It's so cool that you said that you get to get so many messages. I remember you mentioning in your story that you have been getting so many messages. It is so great to see the love. What has that been like? The reactions coming from people towards you, like the messages and the DMs, and like how has that whole thing been like? Because they have their wonderful experiences that they get to share with you because now you have shared it with
Yeah.
them.
I have so many feelings about this. There are days where like it was overwhelming and I was like, I can't read this right now. And then other days I was like, I need this. Like, let me go read every single message. And it's, you know what? I joked to my mom the other day. I was like, I could see why people get addicted to fame. But like, because it's so easy to be like, well, I'm having a really, really rough day. I'm feeling like crap. I have these beautiful messages to go read, and it just makes you feel so good. But it's not just about like, oh, they're telling me I'm amazing. It's not that. It's the way people are talking about connecting to the game.
Right.
I find that so special and profound. And because the game means so much to me and I connect so much to the story, I I love connecting with other people. I mean, I think that's kind of why I'm in this field, to
Right.
connect with others and just to feel. We're all feeling the same things. We're all going through the same things. So when I did get a message actually from someone who said that they also lost a friend growing up to cancer. And gosh, did that make me feel seen. It's it's not that, people are keep every time they write me, they go, thank you. And I'm like, no, wait, thank you. What did I do? Like, I don't know what you're saying. Thank me. I got hired in a game. I'm like, uh, and to read these, I'm like, thank you for sharing your story. I feel seen too. I feel like there's hope. I could talk about this forever and go on and on, but I'm so thankful for every single person that's reached out and made me feel like, just made me feel infinitely better and safer and yeah, seen, like I said.
Yeah, that's so cool. I'm so glad that this game has given you so much that you never
Yeah,
thought can happen, can be possible. And now I'm
never.
wondering, like, would you be like kind of like showing or making your friends or anybody that you know be like, hey, there's this game. Please do play. It has actually good story. I promise you.
I have definitely tried to get my friends into the most I think my friends will do is watch like the YouTube videos of
Right.
people playing the game. Um, I think my crowd is, some of them are gamers. Actually, that's not true. That's a lie. I've had friends reach out to me and say, "Oh my god, I bought your game," and
Wow.
that's really cool when you've got somebody in your life that's like, I'm
Right.
playing you. That I'm like, oh my gosh, this is the coolest thing in the world. Hope you love it. But I want to say like my best friend or whatever, like she doesn't know the first thing about gaming. So sorry, Leanne. I love you. Shout out Leanne. Um, but she'll watch like the YouTube stuff. But I do. There's a few people in my life that have gotten them to buy it, and they've never played a game before. So
Wow.
yeah.
Wow. Yeah, fingers crossed. Hope they like it, and it would be wonderful to like for you to hear from them, like what they think of it, because for them to experience that for a video game, first video game storytelling in this way, I'm curious, like what their thought would be, because I always
Yeah.
tell to my sister, like, hey, video games are actually has a good story, and she never believes it. So,
It's true. Yeah, I have to say the men in my life are definitely more keen to go. Well, I don't know if they're keen to play particularly this game. I don't, they're more into like, shooter games. But at least they have the ability to go buy it. It's the more uh, I shouldn't say more it's just my circle, I think, are not gamers, but I do know a lot of women that are playing this game. But the people in my life are like, really? Video game? They have, so I'm like, guys, I just did this whole thing. Please believe me. They're amazing. They're amazing. I'm so blown away.
right. Well, I hope more people get to play it, because the story in this game, like as I said, like it's so wonderful. And the one thing that I love a lot, obviously, is like there's the Swan who grows up, and you get to see the adult Swan, and then you obviously most of the story is with the younger Swan. Do
Mhm.
you think there is like what do you think kind of changed between who she was when she was younger and then who she is when she's like an adult?
Yeah. So I definitely think we watch Swan sort of come into herself as even in her younger self, right? And Rage, she kind of, the second tape,
Right.
she's becoming more and more confident and comfortable in her own skin. And then I love that, especially when I was reading the breakdown when we first started filming Older Swan, they gave us like a breakdown of like where she's at in her life. And I feel like she is living her best life. And the difference is that she really has found who she is. She's comfortable with who she is. She does live a secluded life, which I think we kind of all knew that's what Swan was gonna do. And she's happiest that way, and she's in her element. And yeah, I think the biggest difference is finding that peace within her from start to finish. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, definitely. I think one of the things that I quickly noticed was I think Swan, when she was younger, she would probably not like kind of travel by herself maybe as much.
Yeah.
And in the like when she grown up, she went to this location. She was sharing photos like, hey, I went here by myself. And
Yes.
it was like,
I
oh,
think it
you
was
went by
Yosemite or
yourself?
something. Yeah. Yeah, yeah, or
Yeah.
Death Valley or something like that. There's a
Yeah.
few places she mentioned. She's like, "I actually went to go do this." Like, what I love so much and what I wanna take in my life as well is that she went to go do the things on her bucket list.
Right.
And yeah, I'm like, "I need to do the things on mine because I do have one."
Yeah. Yeah. We all have one. And I think if there is a character or anything that can help us kind of get that confidence to do it, well,
Yeah.
there it is. There's that.
I love that she went from this kind of
Right.
insecure, quiet girl to owning who she is. I love that.
Yeah, me too. And the other thing that I loved a lot was her tattoo in her arm, which is wonderful to see.
Yes.
It was so
Yeah.
beautiful. Oh my God. And I think people who are, fans of the game, they'll definitely get that tattoo on if they can get like the full
Honestly,
version.
I'm thinking of it. Maybe not the
Oh,
full not the I'm not gonna do that. I'm not as cool as Swan, like, she's so freaking cool for doing that. Um, I'm not at that level yet, but, like, I wanna look at her sleeve and figure out, "Oh, okay, what can I actually steal from this?"
yeah. Like it's interesting because everybody has their own kind of version. Like, oh, this is the tattoo I would like to have. Is there something in your mind like, okay, I would love to have this at least for sure tattooed on my arm?
I know that I wanna do something for the game. I have no idea what yet. And I'm like, "Can people send me, like, quotes that's not like the Meowdy and Jizo stuff, but I want, like, some like, we're not doing that. I'm sorry, guys." But, like, I would love if, like, can somebody tell me, like, a profound quote that maybe Swan says or, some of the girls say? I want something kind of a quote from the game, I think.
Like you have given so much to Swan. Like as an actor, you have given all of it to Swan, presented to us as that character. In turn, Swan has learned a lot from you. Is there anything that you have learned from Swan?
Oh, um, yes. Um, I love, like, how straight up she is, and, like, she'll say whatever's kind of going on in her mind, even though she's probably going, "Why the hell did I just say that?" So that's definitely something I've taken with me is, like, to just kind of be exactly who I am, speak my mind, the way I want to, and not to overthink too much. And Swan definitely has her moments of overthinking, right? Like, we see that in the beginning, but her journey and her arc are so inspiring to me, and especially the way her body acceptance too. We see a lot of like there's references to her body throughout, and I think that's the most inspiring to me is her love and acceptance of who she is as she gets older. And I'm like, yes, I would like to take that with me. I don't know if I'm there yet, but to find that acceptance in just the skin I'm in, I would love that. That's a whole other topic. So sorry.
Don't worry, but I would completely understand that kind of like feeling because it's especially for like a character who's a woman and then you have that kind of like people talking about the weight and all that stuff. That those
Yeah.
two things kind of combined together is a whole big thing that that
Yeah.
person has to
I
go
mean,
through.
that's like a whole other podcast. I kind
Yeah.
of touched on it here and there a little bit and other ones, and like it's hard to get into that whole topic without like I don't want to say the wrong thing either. but but that's what I will say that that's what I love most about her is her ability to just say what's on her mind and love who she is. Yes.
That's the best thing I loved about Swan, that she finally like kind of like accepted everything, that how she is, who she is, she's perfect in that. And the moment when as players when we see her like finally her face, like the face reveal, and I was like, my
Yeah.
God, she looks so pretty. It's crazy. Like, my
She
God.
oh my god, I loved how they designed Adult.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I was like, obsessed. It's like, this is it. Yes, she is such a badass through and through. Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, my God, I feel like I'm just gonna look at her all the time. Like she just looked so pretty. I was like, this is wow,
They
this
did.
is
They
amazing.
made such a beautiful character through and through. Yeah.
Yeah, it was really lovely, and I loved how like I know that she is a big fan of like holding the camera, recording, making documentary. Is that something that you share with her? Like,
Yes. Yeah,
yeah.
okay. So not to that extent, but I did. What was funny is that I got casted in this role when I was in film school studying to be a director and a writer. Yeah. So when I was like, jaw on the floor. I couldn't believe, I was like, okay, she's obsessed with her camera. I'm literally in film school. She's going to be losing this friend. Like it was just everything was like, wow, how did this come to me? This is incredible. So yeah, in that way we definitely relate. I am little camera geek. Yes.
Wow. That's cool. And I feel like I can't, stop this feeling, but I feel like you can now turn this into like a short film, maybe like a continuation of like your own version of what might happen, a little bit of a short film, maybe of
Me? Like, on my
Swan.
own? Oh, I can't do that. That is their IP. But it's I had asked Michelle, I think at one point, I was like, "Have they ever considered turning Life is Strange into a movie or something like this one? Can it be turned into a movie or a TV show?" And they're like, I think the tough thing about that, right, is like if you turn this stuff into a movie or TV show, you have to pick one of the endings.
That's true.
Which, like, who wants to do that? It would ruin it for players, right? So it's tough to turn that into something. Like,
Right.
so unfortunately, I don't know if that will ever be a thing, but it would be really cool if
Mm.
it was.
I mean, yeah, I feel like nowadays, like we have seen all these adaptations. You never
Yeah.
know. You never know
You
this
never
can
know.
happen.
If they could find a way to do it in a really beautiful way, I mean, I feel like this story is worth telling through any
Yeah.
medium.
Definitely,
Yeah.
absolutely. I think even like as a game in this game, the story kind of like surrounds itself with this supernatural thing, like the
Yes.
abyss, where essentially they all kind of like do their wishes and they sort of come true. If that happened, like kind of like in real life, what is that dream that you wanted to make sure that comes true, that you would then throw it into that abyss to make it happen
Like personally for Olivia?
for you? Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, there's a few. I'm like,
Okay.
which one is more important? Like, there's the dream of like being a successful actor, but I think the first thing I would dream for is a cure for Crohn's disease. I will bring up Crohn's in any space I can. Um, I
Absolutely.
don't shut up about it. I'm sorry. Um,
No, absolutely not. Go for it. That is great.
like, yeah, I would dream probably for a cure, and if that could actually happen from the abyss, I can't imagine like a life. I can't even like picture having a cure. Isn't that sad? But I want one. But
Yeah.
that's what I would wish for.
Yeah. The amount of new IPs and new stories that have been generated,
Yeah.
it's really cool to see that. And you being in this game is just it's so wonderful. I just keep on seeing these kind of like messages. People say like tweets and everything, and now people love this game so much, the character so much, the story so much. So I just want to say by the end, like you have done such a wonderful job with this character and
Oh, thank you.
sharing us the story and showing everything that is. And I'm just curious, like excited if there's more. I don't know, but if there's more, I would love to see more.
Yeah, I would love to see more too. Trust me, I'm
Yes.
right there with you and everyone else. Yeah.
Well, there are some fan questions that people would like to know the answer of, if you're okay with that.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's do it.
Yes. Okay. So first comes from Charlie. They ask if you had to pick any of the other girls to play instead of Swan, who would it be
Oh,
and why?
I guess I'd have to say Kat because I originally went out for Kat and I thought her story was so incredible and incredibly written. Um, don't think I could have done the job that Natalie did. I think she freaking killed it. But if I had to play another one, probably Kat.
Wow. I'm curious. I actually like what happened in that audition process where it was Cat, you auditioning for Cat, and then it kind of changed to Swan. Like, what was that happening over there?
Basically, I sent in a tape for Kat, and then one of the devs on the game was putting together an edit of all the auditions of all the different girls speaking to each other. So it was kind of like she was editing as if they were having a conversation all together. And I was, she saw my tape for Kat. They had already decided like who they were going to bring in for callbacks for Kat. And they didn't want me in for Kat. They're like, no, 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 she's not it, which is very fair. and, um, But Mary, who was putting together this kind of edit, said, "Hey, I know you don't want her back for Kat, but have you considered her maybe for Swan?" And I think probably because, my tape kind of, instead of screaming confident and really cool girl, it was coming off a little quirky, a little awkward. I don't know. I look back, I've watched that tape back and I'm like, I really don't see how she saw that. No, I'm like, but like, thank God she did. No, I do get it. I do get it. But I think Mary had such an incredible eye. I really should ask her, like, what is it that you saw in that? Um, but basically, they just ended up calling me back for Swan, so I went in person for the callback, and the rest is history.
Rest is history. Lovely.
Yeah,
I'm so
yeah.
glad that you get to be Swan, the leading
Oh,
role.
same. I had no idea too, by the way. I had not a single clue. When I came in for my first day to shoot, they're like, "Oh, because, you're pretty much in it in every single scene." And I was like, "Oh, cool." They're like, "'Cause, it's from." I think I didn't find out until like months later that it was literally from Swan's perspective. And then I was like, "Oh shit." Like I
So
was
I am in the lead.
I
Yeah.
am I like the lead? They're like, "Yeah." And I was like, "Oh my God." I
Okay.
had no clue. Yeah.
Wow, that is crazy. Lovely.
Yeah.
Love that. Next comes from Kel. I don't know if you can figure this out, but they asked the most hard question is like, what was your favorite scene or dialogue to record?
Oh. Oh.
I feel like
What
this
was
one is the hard one.
Yeah. Oh, there's so much. Okay, okay, I gotta think this through. There's a really funny one that pops into there's 2. The first
Okay.
one was all her silly lines, and one of them being when she is filming something, I think in, I wanna say the forest or something, she spots she just has this line when she goes, "Poop." And it was so funny to record. We were all dying laughing in the studio. Like, I just remember thinking, "I really wanna hear that one back in the game." And then the other stuff was, the really my other favorite stuff was the really tough stuff where there's, like, a lot of screaming, there's a lot of yelling, there's the scene I think
Right.
it's when they're running, okay, wait, so this is spoiler, but, like, when Kat dies,
Mm,
and she
okay.
in that branch when she's pulled in,
Right, right.
um, that was very cathartic because there was a big scream that happened there.
Right.
And that particular it was I think it was just the line was "No." That was the line, but it was like a cathartic yell. So
Mm.
that was, fun.
Yeah, that I remember that moment. I was like, "Oh my god, this is like
You
so
played that?
much." Yeah,
Did you
of
Yeah,
course. Yeah,
you
it was
like
like it was a
oh,
lot, and I was like, "Oof!" Like I was feeling so much. I was like, "Oh my god, like this is happening. Can we
yeah.
just rewind and probably fix that thing, and then
Can
everybody
we
would be
go back
happy?"
and fix that? Let's
Yeah,
not have her die.
let's.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's not. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
but these guys who are the writers, they I feel like do not like happy endings, and
Um,
something's wrong.
it depends which branch you take, but they
True.
definitely gave us, like, some real, like, heart crushers there.
They
Yeah.
did. They did. They really wanted of the players to, die if from
Cry.
inside.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they did.
A Orchid asked, what was the chemistry like between you and the rest of the cast?
Oh, it was so fun. It was sometimes too fun because when we particularly any scene I shot with Natalie, who plays Kat, when we were doing mocap, I never break. Like, I never break character when I'm in a scene, I rarely do. She broke me every single time to the point where, like, Phil would be our director would be like, "Okay, guys, can we be serious?" I'm like, "I'm so sorry." Like, not just, like, she's always cracking jokes and, um, so yes, the chemistry between all of us we're so lucky. Like it was really amazing, and I never went in feeling stressed, never went in feeling like, "Oh god, I have to work with these people." Never. It was so beautiful, and I wish honestly, I wish we had more time together because I really do think we could have created an even stronger bond, but the thing with this stuff is it moves so fast, so but it was a really great bond with all of them, and the additional cast. I wanna shout out Jordan and Victoria, and who played Dylan and Corey, and, also incredible human beings, every one of them.
Next comes from Monet. They asked, what was it like to voice act or act out different outcomes in the story? Was it hard to keep track of, or was the flow pretty good?
It was pretty easy flow. I think in mocap days, it definitely could get a bit hectic. So you're like, wait a minute, what branch am I doing? I'm so good. Where are we? So we would have both Michelle and Phil kind of in the volume with us, which is the space we record in. And like, so we would record one branch, but they wouldn't necessarily cut the cameras. And then we'd have like Michelle or Phil um, telling us, okay, next branch, these are what like they would shout out like a line to remind us like which direction we were going in. And if ever like what's great about mocap is ever you forget a line, you just go, you keep the position you're in and you just go line, like where are we? And it was like really easy to follow from there. Audio, so much easier. Like we were just in the VO booth, everything's right in front of me.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the script's right there. It was very easy to go back and forth.
Wow, that's cool to know. Like it's always cool to know about like like what goes in the volume and how things are technically, and
Yeah,
yeah, it's just very
I'm
interesting to
trying to
like.
like give tidbits about because I feel like that's
Yes.
probably fun to hear.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah, I think a lot of people love to know like, okay, what actually happens in that space and how it all
yeah.
records, because there is no and cut and then we go along. Like I feel like it's
There
always
there
keeps
are,
on.
I mean, there are end cuts, like there is,
Mhm.
the action and the cut, there is,
Of
but
course,
like
yeah.
sometimes it depends. Like you don't want to be shooting too much. It, it's a lot of technical stuff that I don't even know. I just know that it was so great to have Phil and Michelle there to guide us in the middle of a scene sometimes. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. That's always very interesting to me to see how all of
Yeah.
this thing actually happens. It's like a
Yeah.
magic for me.
It is
Next comes
magic.
from KSY. They ask, what scene was the hardest or the most challenging?
Uh, Definitely all of the running through the forest when they're running away from Corey. Definitely the punching and kicking and beating up of Corey. And then either Corey or Corey and Kat falling in the abyss. That was all like that whole kind of ending stuff was the hardest thing I've ever done as an actor in the booth. Because it's like running a marathon. And literally, you're standing there and they're like, "Okay, you're doing all these, like, heavy breathing sequences," because she's out of breath and she's running through the forest. So it's like, you're not actually running, but you have to simulate this feeling of running so you could get very lightheaded. So we'd have to take breaks so I didn't faint, and I'm sure all the other girls went through the same thing. Um, so that was really tough, and then also just the emotional aspect of it. There's so many branches, so there's so many lines to cover. So I would spend, you know, each recording session is 4 hours, so I would spend 4 hours in this incredibly emotional, difficult space where I was just crying the whole time, and that never thought I could do that. That's very intense. The other women went through it as well, the other characters. We all kinda did things like, "Holy crap," like, didn't know voiceover work was this hard. So, yeah, that was my long answer to that question.
I love long answers. It's all good. This is perfect.
Okay, awesome.
That's cool. Yeah, I feel like I thought like those scenes would be one of the scenes which would be kind of like challenging and hard to do because there's so much involved. And I feel like every time, like as a voice actor, I feel like a lot of people kind of give sort of less credit to them. But I feel like every
It's
time
true.
in the booth, like you do a lot of physicality as well in order to give that pure kind of like energy into that
Yes,
particular scene. So there's a
yes,
lot that goes into it.
I'm so glad you brought that up because you made me think, like, there was one day that I did record myself in the studio, and you could see how much I'm moving, and I remember one day I literally, like, we're doing a scene and I backed, like, I literally threw myself into the wall behind me, and I was like, "Oh, I had to stop the take because I think I swore, and, like, you don't realize how much you're moving because 'cause you're trying to imagine yourself in that scenario, and w thank God they had, like, they mic'd us, like, over our head, so it wasn't that there was a mic, like, right in front of us, we were able to move in the booth. So you move so much, and there's so much breathing, and there's so much yelling in those scenes. Literally walked out of those with migraines, and then I would nap for, like, hours after those sessions. Yeah.
My
You gotta be
God.
an athlete to do these things.
Yeah, yeah. Like, who would have thought? Like, okay,
Right?
acting is just not just like, acting and just like it actually, you need a lot of energy. You need to, give
Yeah.
everything into it, everything on your body to just even do voice work and feel.
Yes. I never knew. I never knew, and now I know. I
Now you
gotta hit
know.
the gym.
Yeah, now you know. My God. The last question comes from Greg Horror Show. They asked, did you need to get into a different mindset when switching between acting as the younger Swan and the older Swan?
Oh, a little, yeah. We would try to separate when we were recording younger versus older. So, when we were recording older Swan, we would lower the lights in the voice booth, and we would just try to give us like a different atmosphere, and so I could get into like a different space mentally. It's much darker, everything that she does older than when she's younger. Um, so I wouldn't say it was difficult. It was fun. I had so much fun being able to switch back and forth because, like, like if I was feeling really tired from doing the first half of the tape where Swan is just like everything she says is so upbeat and it's just so like, we're so excited. And then we do hours and hours and hours of that. And then I'd be like, hey, can we switch to older soon? Like, and then I would go sit on like she was always sitting, right? And I would try to follow like in the scene whether the character was standing or sitting. So most of the time, Swan is standing and running around when she's older, but when she's younger, and when she's older, she's sitting at that booth, right? So I would pull up my chair or my stool, and I'd just go like it was like such a different vibe, such a different energy. So it really helped. Like it was a relief to be able to go back and forth between the two. So when I was tired of sitting, I'd be like, "Okay, I need to get my energy out. Let's go young." But yeah, it was great.
Yeah, I loved it. That's pretty cool. I think one of the scenes that I was remembering when one of the questions was like kind of like your favorite scene. One of the scenes that I really remember, which I found really fun because the music was there, it was really cool, was when all the girls were dancing. And I
Yeah.
love that scene because I don't know, the music just elevates everything. So for me, and
Yes.
when I was watching it, that music, and they are kind of, carefree, just doing what they want, and it was best scene. Do you
Oh,
have
yeah.
like a memory, like you remember, like what was that whole moment like? Like what was it like? Because that felt like very special.
Yeah, that was a really fun and awkward thing to film. Um,
Right.
but awkward in the sense because we were dancing on like, our tippy toes, like, really on our toes. So to mimic kinda this feeling of, floating, because they do get elevated in the game, right? And so, we kinda had to have this kinda like ethereal, wispy, weird dancing that we were doing. Thank God there was music to go with it. That really helped. And then, there's the romantic if you choose, there's a romantic moment between all of them, so we recorded, like, we did that so many times. We had to record each moment, right? So, we did it over and over, and I think by the end, we were like, "We're good with this now. Can we move on?"
We have done it way too many times, guys. Like
Yeah.
next
It's
scene, maybe.
it's also a workout. You're on your tiptoes, like
Right.
but it was funny. It was definitely funny. I wish I could see, like, the video of us doing that.
Oh yes, yeah,
There's
that would
video
be
somewhere.
interesting. Must be somewhere. That's true. Obviously, like, I remember when the game came out, like you were putting out on your story that I think a friend of yours was streaming the
Yes,
game, and you
Julian.
were there. Yeah, and so are
Julian's in
you?
the game.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, he is.
So, like, I'm curious. Like, would you be interested to like play the game yourself from the start to the end? Is that something that you think about?
A lot of people have asked me that, and my family too was like, "Why aren't you playing it?" And I'm like, "'Cause I made it." Um, like, I don't think I would. Um, is because I mean, it feels like a little much to watch myself that much and to hear myself that much and to get overly critical about yourself. Um, so no, I don't think I would. I have seen a lot of it though, because I did stream parts of it with Julian, who plays Nichols in the game. Um, and I kinda think that, like, that fulfilled it for me. I was like, "That's I'm good." Like, I'm proud of it, and I don't think I need to do more. I know the whole story too, so, um, I don't think I could watch myself that much. It's too much. It's too much. I don't think any actor should really spend that many hours listening to themselves.
That's understandable. I can totally
Yeah.
understand how it just immediately you start judging and you start seeing like, oh, a lot of
Yeah,
things happens at
sometimes.
that time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So that's completely understandable. Well, now that you have now been in this game, I'm thinking like you must be like like getting interested to be part of other games as well. If that happens, if you get more video game projects, is that something that you would be interested to be a part of?
Absolutely, absolutely. Like, yes, 100%. I've always been in the voice industry. Like that's biggest thing I've been in over the years. And that's definitely not gonna I don't see it stopping for me. Yes, if another beautiful big game wants to come along. Yeah, no, absolutely. I will do anything. I'll do a small part. I'm so obsessed with games now in a way that I never thought I would be, and I didn't realize to what level it would fulfill me as an artist. So I'd be more than happy, to spend the rest of my life doing video games if that's my path. Yeah,
Hell yeah, that'll be so lovely to see. I'm hoping that there's a video game that comes up next, and you get to be a part of. And in general,
absolutely.
I think in general
Yes,
you get to be part of any other project, whether it's video game or
anything.
not. And
I
yeah,
feel the same way. I'm just excited for whatever comes next.
yes, I'm so happy that. And again, congratulations to you for on the release of this game, on the
Thank you.
success for this game. It's been wonderful, and thank you so much for taking the time today to talk to me about all of this. This has been great.
Thank you. I appreciate it so much. Thank you for having me. You're so lovely.